Welcome to the Wrestling Analyst Podcast Beyond the Bell, your weekly deep dive into the world of professional wrestling where analysis meets passion. So this week, WWE Week in Review, we're breaking down the biggest stories and surprises from this week in WWE. Well, last week because I'm a little late for doing this week because I had to move somebody long distance. In my detailed analyst storyline breakdown, we're going to do a deep dive into Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre and their upcoming 3 stages of Hell match. In my opinion segment, Beyond the World Championship, my take on the underrated value of mid-card titles and why they matter more than ever. In my booking room, fantasy booking spotlight, Carmelo Hayes versus Ilja Dragunov, the rivalry that will redefine the U.S. title. So, in my preview interactions, we have last Saturday in WWE History, a nostalgic look back at defining moments in wrestling, and a preview of next Saturday's episode. So, let's embark on this and let's go beyond the bell. Welcome to the Wrestling Analyst Podcast Beyond the Bell, where the real story begins after the final bell. I'm your host, Night Stalker Dirk Boudier, and together we'll break down the week's biggest moments, analyze storylines, and bring you opinions that hit harder than a steel chair. We will also explore how I would be booking a storyline if I were head of creative. Because here, every match tells a story, and we're here to break it down. So hit subscribe, leave a like, and click that notification bell, and let's go beyond the bell. So, the WWE Week in Review. Raw was all about setting the stage for the Netflix anniversary and the road to the Royal Rumble. The night opened with Paul Heyman and The Vision introducing Austin Theory as their newest member. Heyman hyped this faction as the future of WWE, and honestly, it feels like they're positioning themselves as the dominant force on Raw. Then CM Punk crashed the party, confronting Braun Breaker ahead of their World Heavyweight Championship match next week. Well, essentially last Monday. The tension was off the chart, but Punk versus Breaker is going to be huge. In matches highlights, Stephanie Vaquer retained her World Women's Championship in the triple threat match against Nikki Bella and Raquel Rodriguez. Smart move by Vaquer, she capitalized on Rodriguez's Tejana bomb to steal the pin. Gunther absolutely destroyed R-Truth, no surprise there. And there's still something going with AJ Styles. Austin Theory lost to Rey Mysterio by DQ thanks to Logan Paul's interference. But the real story, Penta returned to save Rey. Big pop for that one. And in the tag division, the Usos became the 9-time World Tag Team Champions after beating AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. I've said it before, tag titles should be for real tag teams, and this proves my point. We also got a fiery promo between Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree to set up their match on the first anniversary of Raw on Netflix. So Raw was all about building momentum for that Netflix milestone and teasing big things for 2026. Over on NXT, it was the year-end awards show, but let's focus on matches and storylines. Ethan Page retained his North American title against Moose. We had JC Jane beating Ren Sinclair, clearly setting up her title defense against Kendall Gray. And Tavion Heights squashed Lexis King in 8 seconds. That tells me that King might be on his way out of NXT. Maybe heading to the main roster as Brian Pillman Jr.? I called that weeks ago. Hopefully, Lexus King does not get released. OTM dominated Swipe Right, rebuilding their credibility as contenders. Ricky Saints defeated Javon Evans, but Evans is destined to the main roster soon, so this loss won't hurt him. Other notes, Tatum Paxley confronted Izzy Dane, Fatal Influence attacked Kendall Gray backstage, and Joe Hendry's New Year's Eve concert ended in chaos thanks to Dark State. NXT is clearly setting up for New Year's Evil as a big event. So, SmackDown kicked off 2026 with fireworks. Randy Orton returned and shut down the Miz's rant with 2 RKOs. Vintage Orton, what a way to start the year. Drew McIntyre revealed the stipulations for his 3 Stages of Hell match against Cody Rhodes and even burned a photo of Dusty Rhodes. Talk about personal, Cody couldn't retaliate because all this warnings, which adds even more tension. Now, I did a 3 Stages of Hell match back when I was in SWR, and it was a classic wrestling match, and then a submission match and a casket match to end it. In the match's highlights, 8-women tag match was pure chaos. Charlotte, Alexa, Ripley, and Io Sky picked up the win after a Riptide moonsault combo. Matt Cardona, yes, Zack Ryder, returned and beat Kit Wilson, so it's great to see him back. Carmelo Hayes retained the U.S. title against Johnny Gargano. I love the Open Challenge concept, but WWE needs to keep it fresh. And next week, I'm going to have a booking room about Carmelo Hayes' title run. Julia regained the U.S. women's title from Chelsea Green. Honestly, bad booking. They should have built Julia up as a babyface before giving her the belt, giving her back the belt. Check out my video on Chelsea Green's corporate coup for my take and how I would have booked this whole storyline to make Julia a big baby face and have Chelsea Green have a bigger stable with her and have something that would have really felt like a green regime and then a presidential administration. And then you had the main event, Damon Priest versus Aleister Black in an ambulance match. Brutal, and Priest slammed the door on that feud, literally. Other notes, we had Sami Zayn declared his intent to win a world title in 26, but he got interrupted by Trick Williams. And Jordynne Grace was spotted talking to Nick Aldis, just like I predicted on December 13th. Jordynne Grace and Trick Williams are going to join SmackDown in the very near future. So this week was all about returns, title changes, and setting the tone for the Royal Rumble season. Raw gave us faction drama, NXT focused on rising stars, and SmackDown delivered WrestleMania-level storylines. The road to 2026 is looking stacked. So we're now at the detailed storyline breakdown. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre's 3 Stages of Hell match. What happens? So what's happened so far? The title feud escalates. Cody Rhodes currently reigns as the undisputed WWE champion, but his dominance has been under siege for months thanks to Drew McIntyre's relentless pursuit. This rivalry isn't just about gold, it's about pride, legacy, and personal animosity that has boiled over into one of WWE's most intense storylines. So we've had heated brawls and brutal encounters. From televised clashes to the WWE Holiday Tour Live, Rhodes and McIntyre have gone to war. Their battles have included a vicious steel cage match where Cody narrowly escaped to retain his title. Every encounter feels more dangerous than the last, with chair shots, near falls, and Drew coming closer each time to dethroning the champion. So we have the 3 stages of hell locked in. The stakes couldn't be higher on January 9th, 2026 in Berlin, Germany. These two will collide in a 3 stages of hell match for the undisputed WWE Championship, a stipulation reserved for the most personal rivalries. So stage 1 is going to be a standard wrestling match. Pure wrestling rules, no shortcuts, no weapons, a test of skill and endurance. Stage 2 is going to be a falls count anywhere. No DQ, no count out, pinfall, or submission. Can happen anywhere, ringside, backstage, even in the crowd. Expect chaos and carnage. And the 3rd stage is a steel cage. If needed, trust me, it's going to be needed. So they will split the two first falls. The final stage happens inside of steel cage. No interference, no escape, just brutality. The cage symbolizes the ultimate battleground where this feuds end decisively. So why is it historic? Rarely used stipulation previously seen in classics like Triple H versus Stone Cold in 2001. The undisputed WWE Championship is on the line, making this one the most significant 3 stages of hell matches ever. There's personal heat. Drew burning Dusty Rhodes' photo and attacking Cody's property makes this more than a title fight. It's a vendetta. McIntyre crosses the line. Drew has gone beyond mind games. He's gone scorched earth. Burning a photo of Cody with his late father, Dusty Rhodes, and vandalizing Cody's tour bus have turned this into deeply personal territory. McIntyre isn't just chasing the title, he's trying to destroy Cody's soul. McIntyre has interfered in Cody's matches, caused disqualifications, and even earned a suspension from SmackDown's general manager, Nick Aldis, only to be reinstated for this championship showdown. Previous encounters ended in controversy, keeping fans guessing and tensions sky high. So what has fueled this rivalry? It has been building for months with high-profile clashes and controversial finishes. In the Holiday Tour, Cody escaped the cage, retained his title after a brutal war of attrition. We had multiple singles bouts on SmackDown ending in chaos, with Drew attacking Cody post-match and leaving him laid out with Claymore kicks. At Survivor Series, Drew took Cody out of the picture with a devastating chair shot or chair-assisted Claymore, leaving him bloodied and humiliated while Punk was getting pinned by Braun Breaker after the Masked Man, which we now know is Austin Theory, interfered in the match. There were interference and suspensions. Drew repeatedly disrupted Cody's defenses against other challengers, drawing fines and a short suspension, only to return more dangerous than ever. So why does this feud matter? Well, we have two main event titans. Cody Rhodes, the heroic champion who clawed his way back to the top after losing to John Cena at WrestleMania 41 and regaining the title at SummerSlam. Drew McIntyre, the relentless challenger who's been denied for too long and is willing to burn everything down to get what he wants. This isn't business. It's personal. McIntyre's attacks on Cody's family legacy and property have transformed this into a blood feud. Every promo drips with venom. Every brawl feels like a war. Fans are split. Will McIntyre finally claim the crown he's chased for years? Or will Cody survive hell itself to keep his reign alive? The uncertainty makes this one WWE's most compelling story heading into 2026. So in Berlin, 3 Stages of Hell, January 9th, 2026, 2 warriors, 1 undisputed championship, no mercy. This isn't just another title match. It's a war built on pride, legacy, and pure hatred. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre are about to step into hell itself, and only one will walk out as undisputed champion. Berlin will be the battleground, and history will be written in blood, sweat, and steel. Who do you think survived 3 Stages of Hell? Cody or Drew? Drop your predictions below and let me hear your thoughts. Will Cody keep his WrestleMania dream alive, or is Drew McIntyre finally taking the crown he's chased for years? Which stage do you think decides the match? The classic wrestling match? Falls count anywhere? Or the unforgiving steel cage? If Drew wins, does this open the door for Sami Zayn at WrestleMania? Or a shocking triple threat? So drop your comments below. I want to hear you. So, in my opinion segment, Beyond the Championship, exploring the underrated value of mid-card titles. I will make a bold claim here. Forget everything you thought you knew about wrestling titles. The real backbone of any wrestling promotion isn't always its world champion. It's the mid-card championships. These often overlooked titles are where the magic happens. They elevate future stars, fueling compelling stories, and deliver the kind of consistent drama that keeps the fans invested week after week. Today, we're breaking down why these belts aren't just secondary. They're essential to the very fabric of professional wrestling. So why are there mid-card titles? Well, first of all, talent development. Mid-card titles are the ultimate stepping stone for future main event stars. They serve as a proving ground where rising talent can demonstrate they have the charisma, in-ring ability, and storytelling chops to carry bigger responsibilities. These championships aren't just placeholders, they're auditions for greatness. Historically, the Intercontinental Championship has been called the workhorse belt because so many future legends used it as a launch pad. The Rock perfected his mic skills and character work during his IC run in the late 90s. Bret Hart delivered technical masterpieces as Intercontinental Champion, which paved the way for his world title reigns. Shawn Michaels and Triple H also used mid-card titles to transition from promising talents to main event icons. Fast forward to today, Gunther's record-breaking Intercontinental title, 666 days, didn't just make him dominant, it established him as a future world champion and a cornerstone of Raw. Austin Theory leveraged his U.S. title run to evolve his heel persona and position himself as one of WWE's most talked about young stars at the time. Damian Priest's U.S. title reign in 2021 helped him move from NXT newcomer to a credible main roster player, eventually leading to his Money in the Bank win. These reigns show that mid-card titles are not consolation prizes, they're developmental platforms that shape WWE's future. Without them, the pipeline to the main event would be broken and emerging talents would struggle to gain traction. So here's a historical fact. The Intercontinental title debuted in 1979 with Pat Patterson as the first champion. Many Hall of Famers like Randy Savage, The Ultimate Warrior, Edge, held mid-card titles before becoming world champions. John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge in 2015 elevated multiple stars, including Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, proving how a mid-card belt can create breakout moments. Another point that for mid-card titles is storyline depth. Mid-card championships are the lifeblood of WWE's storytelling structure. While the world title feud often dominates the headlines, these secondary belts create parallel narratives that keep programming dynamic and engaging. They allow writers to craft layered storylines, giving fans multiple reasons to tune in beyond the main event. Historically, the Intercontinental Championship has been the centerpiece of some of WWE's most compelling stories. Jericho vs. Mysterio in 2009 was a masterclass in storytelling. Mask versus title, personal stakes, incredible matches that captivated fans. Go back further to Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 3, a feud built on betrayal and revenge that culminated in one of the greatest matches of all time. In recent years, mid-card titles have continued to deliver unforgettable narratives. Gunther vs. Sheamus in 2022, their feud over the IC title gave us one of the most brutal hard-hitting match in WWE history at Clash at the Castle. It wasn't just about the belt, it was about pride, toughness, and respect. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor in 2018, their IC title rivalry produced technical classics and elevated Raw's mid-card during a time when the Universal title was often absent. And again, John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge in 2015, this wasn't just a gimmick, it was a storyline that turned the U.S. title into a weekly attraction, delivering dream matches against Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Cesaro. These feuds prove that mid-card championships aren't fillers, they're engines for creativity. They allow for personal grudges, redemption arcs, and battles for respect that often feel more authentic than world title feuds dominated by part-time stars. So who held the most Intercontinental Championship? Well, there's a lot of rumors surrounding that guy, and it's Chris Jericho with 9. The Intercontinental title has headlined multiple pay-per-views, including SummerSlam 1992 with Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog at Wembley Stadium in England. The United States has been used to launch major storylines, including Cena's rise in 2004 and his Open Challenge revival in 2015. It is also a workhorse recognition. Mid-card titles often go to the wrestlers who embody consistency, reliability, and technical excellence. The workhorses of WWE. These are the performers who may not always headline WrestleMania, but they deliver night after night, ensuring fans they get high-quality matches every week. For many fans, these mid-card bouts often steal the show, proving that prestige isn't always about the top belt, it's about performance. Historically, the Intercontinental Championship has been synonymous with workhorse champions. Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart. They elevated the belt with technical clinics that set the standards for in-ring excellence. In the 2000s, Shelton Benjamin, very, very, very underrated, brought athleticism and innovation to his Intercontinental Championship reign, creating unforgettable moments. In recent years, WWE has continued this tradition. Dolph Ziggler's multiple Intercontinental U.S. title reigns cemented his reputation as one of WWE's most dependable performers. His matches against The Miz at No Mercy 2016 was a career highlight. Cesaro, while never a world champion, and that's a shame, his U.S. title reign showcased his unmatched strength and technical skills. Ricochet's Intercontinental title run in 2022 brought high-flying excitement back to Raw, delivering matches that thrilled fans. Sami Zayn, during the pandemic era, proved he could carry storylines and deliver compelling promos even without live crowds. And Shinsuke Nakamura's multiple IC reigns added depth to his WWE tenure, reminding fans of his strong style roots. These champions represent the backbone of WWE programming, and they keep the mid-card vibrant and ensure that every show has matches worth watching, even when the world title picture is dominated by part-time stars. So, brand stability. Mid-card championships are the structural backbone of WWE programming. They ensure that every show, Raw, SmackDown, and even premium live events has multiple layers of competition beyond the world title picture. Without these belts, WWE would risk becoming one-dimensional with only one storyline dominating the spotlights. These titles create balance across brands, especially during brand split eras. When the WWE Championship or Universal title is tied up in a single feud, mid-card belts like the Intercontinental and US keep other talent relevant and give fans compelling reasons to watch. They also provide a platform for mid-tier stars to shine, preventing roster stagnation and keeping the product fresh. So why is this important? WWE has one of the largest rosters in wrestling history. Without secondary championships, dozens of talented performers would drift aimlessly and fan engagement would suffer. Mid-card titles act as anchors for weekly programming, ensuring that every episode has meaningful stakes, even when the world champion is a part-time attraction. The U.S. title originated in NWA in 1975 with Harley Race as its inaugural champion. So there was a lot of Hall of Famers that are former U.S. champions as well. And finally, fan engagement, and legacy. Mid-card titles aren't just props. They're symbols of history and prestige that hardcore fans deeply respect. The Intercontinental Championship, for example, is synonymous with technical excellence and unforgettable matches. Savage Steamboat at WrestleMania 3 is still hailed as one of the greatest matches ever. Michaels and Razor Ramon in the first ladder match at WrestleMania 10 revolutionized wrestling. These moments cemented the Intercontinental Championship as the workhorse belt. Fans also loved the nostalgia factor when Cody Rhodes brought back the classic white Intercontinental belt design in 2011. It sparked excitement because it connected the present to WWE's golden era. Similarly, John Cena's US Open Challenge turned a mid-card belt into a fan favorite attraction, delivering dream matches weekly. Today, Gunther's record-breaking Intercontinental Champions has reignited debates about the greatest champions of all time, proving that these titles still matter. They're not consolation prizes, they're badges of honors that fans associate with quality wrestling. So here's the bottom line. Mid-card titles aren't secondary. They're foundational. They build stars, deepen stories, reward excellence, stabilize brands, and connect fans to wrestling's rich history. Without them, the sport would lose its heartbeat. Now, I want to hear from you. Which mid-card title reign is your favorite? Was it Savage's classic Intercontinental run, Cena's US Open Challenge, or maybe Gunther's historic Intercontinental run? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. So in my booking room segment, Carmelo Hayes versus Ilja Dragunov, the rivalry that will redefine the U.S. title. The United States Championship has long been a fixture in WWE, but in recent years, it struggled to feel truly important. Too often, it's been overshadowed by a world title or treated as a prop in short-term storylines. But what if the U.S. title became the centerpiece of SmackDown? Like I stated in my opinion segment last week on my opinion segment, where I was talking about how to make the mid-card titles more relevant. What if two world-class athletes turned into the most competitive prize in the company? Enter Carmelo Hayes and Ilja Dragunov, two stars with contrasting styles and undeniable charisma. This fantasy booking envisions a rivalry that spans months, elevates both men, and transforms the U.S. Championship into a symbol of prestige. It's not just about great matches, it's about creating a narrative of parity, unpredictability, and ultimate resolution on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania 42. So, let's start with January 9th. So the booking from January 9th to April, just before WrestleMania. So April 17th. Okay? January 9th of SmackDown. Carmelo Hayes kicks off the new year as U.S. champion after defeating Ilja Dragunov on December 29th. He declares the start of the Open era, promising to defend the title against anyone who steps up. So, January 9th, Tommaso Ciampa answers, if he's not injured, but I don't think so. The match is intense, but chaos erupts when Johnny Gargano interferes. Before Gargano can cost Hayes the title, Dragunov storms in and neutralizes him. Hayes capitalizes and retains. Post-match, Hayes smirks at Dragunov, a reluctant nod of respect. January 16th, Hayes faces Gargano again in another open challenge. Gargano pushes him to the limit, but Hayes escapes with the win. DIY tension simmers in the background while Hayes continues to build his aura as him. January 23rd, Rey Fenix shocks the crowd by answering the open challenge. The match is high-speed spectacle, but Hayes proves he can adapt to any style, retaining the title and declaring himself as the standard. So we get to January 30th. Backstage, Dragunov confronts Hayes. I will accept your open challenge soon. Hayes welcomes it and says, step up anytime. Just know you're stepping up to him. And on the same night, Hayes defeats The Miz, surviving veteran tricks and reinforcing his dominance. So we get, now this is where the real storyline really begins. Now, until now, we have set up and established Carmelo as a real champion which can defend the title and who can adapt to any style of opponents. February 6th, Dragunov finally answers the open challenge. In a grueling battle, he wins back the U.S. title. After the match, the two shake hands, a sign of respect, and a promise of more to come. February 13th, Dragunov defends against Santos Escobar, turning back the challenge in a showcase of grit and precision. Hayes appears backstage, reminding everyone that the open era isn't over. February 20th of SmackDown. Hayes steps up for a rematch and regains the title. The rivalry is now tied, and the tension rises. Both men vow to keep the competition alive. February 27th, Hayes defends against Nathan Frazer in a fast-paced thriller, proving he can adapt to any style. Frazer pushes him to the limit, but Hayes retains and declares himself as the standard. We get to March 6th. Dragunov returns for another showdown, and once again, the title changes hands. Their series feels like a chess match. Every move answered, every reign short-lived. We get to March 13th. Dragunov defends against Frazer's partner, Axiom, in a technical masterpiece, holding onto the belt and reinforcing his dominance outside of Hayes. March 20th of SmackDown. Hayes comes back, challenges Dragunov again, and wins the title. The parity between the two is undeniable. Neither man can hold the title for long when the other is in the picture. And that's what makes this rivalry so compelling. We get to March 27th. Dragunov regains the title in their fifth clash. Well, in their sixth, because, their sixth title change in total, keeping the rivalry perfectly balanced heading into the biggest stage. April 3rd, Hayes wins it back again, entering. So both men now stand as equal each having proven their worth in a series that feels like a modern classic. After the match, Dragunov asks for a final rematch and an end to the cycle to have a definitive winner at WrestleMania. Carmelo Hayes agrees. Nick Aldis comes out and states that Ilja Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes will face each other in a 30-minute Iron Man match at WrestleMania. Both Hayes and Dragunov nod their approval. So April 10th, contract signing for WrestleMania, Dragunov states, "No more moments, let time decide." And Hayes agrees, "Put 30 on the clock. When the buzzer hits, they'll know why I'm him." The match is set, a 30-minute Iron Man match for the U.S. title. So we get to WrestleMania, April 18th, night 1. The Iron Man match delivers everything fans hoped for: drama, endurance, and storytelling at its finest. After 30 minutes, the score is tied 2-2. Sudden death begins, and Hayes finally breaks the cycle, scoring the decisive fall to win 3-2. Post-match, Hayes and Dragunov shake hands, big hug, closing the chapter with mutual respect. The U.S. title is now the most prestigious mid-card championship in WWE, and Hayes walks out as the definitive him. So why does this booking matter? Well, this plan does more than create great matches. It elevates Carmelo Hayes, it elevates Ilja Dragunov, and it elevates the title itself to a level of prestige rarely seen in WWE's mid-card scene. By structuring a rivalry where the title changes hands every time they meet, we establish both men as equals, two elite competitors locked in a cycle of one-upmanships. Each reign feels earned, not handed out, and every defense against other challengers reinforces the U.S. title as a prize worth fighting for. For Hayes, this booking cements him persona as more than a catchphrase. It becomes a narrative of resilience, adaptability, and big match performance. For Dragunov, it showcases his intensity and honor, proving that his style and ethos can thrive on a global stage. And for the championship itself, this rivalry transforms it from a forgotten belt into the centerpiece of SmackDown, a symbol of excellence and storytelling depth. By the time WrestleMania arrives, fans will see the U.S. title as the most competitive championship in WWE, and the Iron Man match will feel like the ultimate payoff, a definitive clash to crown the true standard bearer. In conclusion, this rivalry isn't just about wins and losses. It's about redefining what the United States Championship means in WWE. By crafting a story of parity, respect, and a relentless competition, Carmelo Hayes and Ilja Dragunov elevate themselves and the title to unprecedented heights. When the dust settles at WrestleMania, Hayes walks out as the definitive him, but both men leave behind a legacy that fans will talk about for years. This is how you make a mid-card title feel like a world championship. Through consistency, creativity, and storyline that matters. What do you think? Should WWE actually pull the trigger on a rivalry like this? Would you prefer Hayes to win at WrestleMania? Or should Dragunov stand tall as the Ultimate Warrior? Drop your thoughts below and tell us, who's your pick to walk out of WrestleMania as US Champion? Him or the Matt Dragon? So, this day in WWE history, 2025, just last year, on January 3rd, Tiffany Stratton cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase on Nia Jax to win her first women's WWE Championship. In 2017, Dean Ambrose defeated The Miz to win the Intercontinental title. So we talked a great length about the IC title earlier. Triple H beat the Big Show to earn his third world championship in 2000. Legendary wrestling commentator Jim Ross celebrated his 73rd birthday this last Saturday. And the late New Jack was born on January 3rd in 1963. Next week, in the coming weeks, I will change the format of my weekly review a bit and concentrate on major storylines during that segment and maybe dive a bit deeper in the psychology of those feuds. In my detailed storyline breakdown, I have not decided yet on what I will take a look, but it could be something to do with NXT. In my opinion segment, I will explore pro wrestling's backstage politics and power play. And in my booking room segment, I will take a look at what's next for Julia and the Women's United States Championship. So that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Wrestling Analyst Podcast, Beyond the Bell. Thanks for joining me as we break down the stories, the drama, and the action that keeps the wrestling world turning. If you enjoyed today's episode and today's deep dive, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and share the podcast with your fellow wrestling fans. Follow me on social media for updates, hot takes, and join my community on Twitter or X. Got a prediction or fantasy booking idea? Got a storyline you'd like me to break down? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep your eyes on the ring, your ears on the stories, and remember, when the bell rings, the analysis begins. See you Saturday on Beyond the Bell. That's it for this week, and thank you for listening to the Wrestling Analyst Podcast, Beyond the Bell. If you loved what you heard, smash that subscribe button, drop a like, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the action. Got opinions? Share them in the comments. I want to hear your take. So until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and keep going beyond the bell.